Prime Minister arrived in Addis Ababa yesterday evening and was received very warmly at the airport by Prime Minister Dr. Abiy. Prime Minister Abiy drove Prime Minister Modi directly to National Science Museum and Friendship Park in the city. Later, Prime Minister was accorded ceremonial welcome at the National Palace, where he inspected the Guard of Honor. Subsequently, the two leaders met in one-to-one format, followed by delegation-level talks and banquet hosted by Prime Minister Abiy. The two leaders had productive and wide-ranging discussions where they reviewed the full spectrum of the bilateral partnership. Both sides agreed to further expand cooperation in areas including trade and investment, agriculture, renewable energy, health, education, skill development, defense, mining, artificial intelligence, and digital public infrastructure. In the context of food security and health security, Prime Minister Modi expressed and conveyed India's readiness to share our own development experience in the area of agri-technology, natural farming, digital health, and how we are leveraging technology for better health services to our people, traditional medicine, and he said that India would be happy to work with Ethiopia in these areas in the coming months. Prime Minister thanked Prime Minister Abiy for Ethiopia's strong support in our common fight against terrorism in all its manifestation. The two leaders witnessed the exchange of several MoUs in diverse areas such as customs cooperation, training for peacekeeping missions, establishment of a data center at the Ethiopian Foreign Office. During their meeting, the two leaders decided to elevate the bilateral partnership to a strategic partnership, marking a whole new chapter in our bilateral engagement with Ethiopia. This elevation further solidifies our collective commitment to work even more closely in areas of mutual interest. At the meeting, the two leaders reaffirmed their commitment toward bilateral development cooperation. For decades, as you know, Indian teachers have been significantly contributing to Ethiopia's education sector. In this vein, it was agreed to further deepen cooperation in the field of education, skilling, and capacity building. India would be happy to organize special short-term courses in the field of artificial intelligence under the iTech program for Ethiopia. Prime Minister Modi also announced doubling of the number of ICCR scholarships offered annually to Ethiopian students to study in India. Similarly, in the field of healthcare, it was conveyed that India was ready to partner with Mahatma Gandhi Hospital in augmenting its capacity through supply of equipment and provisioning of training programs, especially in the areas of maternal and neonatal health, emergency medicine, and trauma care. During his interaction with Prime Minister Dr. Abiy, Prime Minister Modi expressed satisfaction at the growing participation of Indian companies, Indian private sector, in Ethiopia's economic transformation, particularly in the areas of manufacturing and pharmaceutical sector. The two leaders reaffirmed that India and Ethiopia stood united in advancing a more inclusive, equitable, rule-based global order. The two countries reaffirmed their commitment to work together on global matters of mutual importance and to amplify the voice of Global South. Prime Minister Modi conveyed India's support to Ethiopia's accession process at the WTO, as well as membership to the new development bank. As all of you know, Ethiopia has recently joined the BRICS grouping, and as I mentioned, India has been consistent supporter of Ethiopia's bid to join as borrowing member to the new development bank. At the meeting, Prime Minister Modi underscored India's abiding commitment toward the wider African continent and commitment to work together in the spirit of South-South cooperation, including within the framework of India-Africa Forum Summit. Prime Minister Modi lauded the positive contribution of the members of the Indian community in Ethiopia, who for decades have served as the living bridge between our two countries. At a special ceremony organized at the Addis International Convention Center last evening, Prime Minister Modi received Ethiopia's highest award, the Great Honor Nishan of Ethiopia, from Prime Minister Abiy. Prime Minister Modi dedicated the award to all those Indians and Ethiopians who have nurtured the bilateral ties for ages and conveyed heartfelt gratitude on behalf of 1.4 billion people of India. This morning, the Prime Minister will be addressing the joint session of the Ethiopian Parliament, and he looks forward to his interaction with the Speaker of the Parliament and other distinguished leaders. He will also be visiting Adwa Museum, pay respects and lay wreath at the Adwa Victory Monument. Prime Minister Modi has also invited Prime Minister Abe to participate in the AI Impact Summit scheduled to be held in India in February next year, as also the BRICS Summit that we propose to host next year in India. As all of you know, from 1st January 2026, India will assume chairship of the BRICS grouping for 1 year. You would have seen 2 press releases on PM's engagement issued last evening, as well as Prime Minister's remark on the occasion of the conferment of highest award on him by Prime Minister Abe. You have seen the visuals emerging from various engagement, meetings, welcome ceremony, which clearly indicate the warm personal connect between the 2 leaders. With these words, I will be happy to respond to any questions that you may have about the ongoing visit. Thank you.
Thank you. The floor is open now. We can go from the left, please. Please do introduce yourself.
Sir, I am Sushil Chandra Tiwari from All India Radio News. My question is, sir, कि दोनों देशों के बीच जो शिक्षक हैं, जो टीचर हैं, उन्होंने एक बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले किया है पिछले कई दशकों में. तो अब जो कल बातचीत हुई है, उसके बाद हम जो एजुकेशन के क्षेत्र में किस तरीके से अपने सहयोग को बढ़ाने जा रहे हैं. और दूसरा, if you can allow me to ask one more question. The second thing is what the impact of this elevation of bilateral ties to strategic partnership is going to impact both countries.
ठीक है. More question? Please. Here.
सर 3 MOU साइन, मैं अश्विनी मिश्रा डीडी न्यूज से, 3 MOU साइन हुए हैं. उनमें से सर एक डेट रिस्ट्रक्चरिंग इन द रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ इथियोपिया अंडर द G20 कॉमन फ्रेमवर्क. इसमें कैसे इथियोपिया की वित्तीय सहायता सुनिश्चित की जा सकेगी?
We have a question there.
I'm Deepika from DD India, sir. When we talk about the elevation of bilateral ties to strategic levels, what would be the next steps to implement the same?
We have a question behind. Sorry.
Thank you. This is Girma from Ethiopia News Agency. My question is, what expected from this visit as the 2 countries as members of BRICS to further strengthen the Global South cooperation? Finally, how will India support African voice and leadership in global governance, including reform of international institutions as well as the representation of Africa at international global?
We have a question here.
Rishabh Singh this side from INS News Agency. My question is, what role Indian private sector will play to strengthening a strategic partnership?
Sir.
Thank you very much for these questions. I would like to answer these questions in the order that these were raised. There were some overlapping questions also. The first question was regarding the role of Indian teachers. जो हमारे भारतीय शिक्षक जहाँ इथियोपिया में उन्होंने काम किया है, उस हम पार्टनरशिप को कैसे आगे बढ़ाएंगे. जैसे मैंने बोला कि आप किसी भी यहाँ पे इथियोपियन लीडर से मिलते हैं तो वो बताते हैं कि किस तरीके से भारतीय अध्यापकों ने यहाँ पे कंट्रीब्यूट किया है एजुकेशन सेक्टर में. तो हमारी जो इथियोपिया से एजुकेशन पार्टनरशिप है वो काफ़ी मजबूत है. हम इथियोपिया के स्टूडेंट्स के लिए काफ़ी स्कॉलरशिप प्रोग्राम में इनको एडमिशन देते हैं हायर एजुकेशन में. और यहाँ पर इथियोपिया में काफ़ी रुचि है कि वो भारत में आके पढ़ाई करें. तो उसको देखते हुए प्रधानमंत्री ने जो हमारे स्कॉलरशिप के स्लॉट्स हैं इथियोपिया के लिए उसको डबल करने का अनाउंस किया है. हमारा एक आईटेक प्रोग्राम है, जैसे मालूम है आपको, उसमें भी इथियोपिया से बहुत ही ऑफिशियल्स, स्टूडेंट, प्रोफेशनल्स आते हैं. तकरीबन पिछले 10 सालों में तकरीबन 3000 लोग इथियोपिया से आए हैं आईटेक प्रोग्राम में फॉर स्किल डेवलपमेंट. सो दोनों मिला के स्कॉलरशिप प्रोग्राम और आईटेक प्रोग्राम जो हमारे हैं इंडिया के, उसमें इथियोपिया बहुत ही मजबूत भागीदार रहा है. और आगे के महीनों में और वर्षों में हम चाहेंगे कि इथियोपिया की तरफ से और बच्चे और स्टूडेंट्स भारत में पढ़ने आएँ. There were 2 questions regarding strategic partnership that both the leaders have announced. The elevation of bilateral relationship to strategic partnership and what it entails in actual terms and what both governments will do to realize this strategic partnership. I think elevation of the ties to strategic partnership comes in the backdrop of a very warm, friendly, and mutually beneficial cooperation that we have enjoyed over the last few years. This elevation, of course, is a very landmark outcome of this visit. Both the leaders have identified new sectors of cooperation. I alluded to agriculture, health, digital cooperation in the area of digital public infrastructure. Prime Minister Abiy has expressed a lot of interest in technology, artificial intelligence area, to work with India and to learn from India's development experience. So we have defense and security is another important area. We signed the MoU on defense cooperation earlier this year in India. So we have, both the leaders have given us a very clear political guidance that these are the sectors in which Ethiopia is very keen to work with India. And Prime Minister Modi was very forthcoming in conveying to Prime Minister Abiy that India would work shoulder to shoulder with Ethiopia in the spirit of South-South cooperation and expand our partnership across these sectors. As a next step, as you asked me, Deepika, that we would be engaging with our partners in Ethiopia very closely in the coming weeks and months, and we would like to lay out a very concrete roadmap across these sectors as to how we can work together with Ethiopia. I see tremendous opportunity for working with Ethiopia in the area of trade and investment, skilling, capacity building, and the whole gamut of development cooperation. So we are very excited about taking a partnership with Ethiopia forward in a manner that has been instructed by the two leaders yesterday to all of us. There was a question on debt restructuring. You are right that there is a G20 common framework on debt to sort of address the debt vulnerability of some developing countries. They had agreed to lay out this framework. India has signed the MOU, which will give some sort of leeway to Ethiopia in terms of debt payment under the lines of credit given by India to Ethiopia in the past few years. As I mentioned, I think there was a question on BRICS. As I mentioned to you, Ethiopia has only joined BRICS last year, and we are delighted to welcome Ethiopia in BRICS, and we are going to host a host number of activities under the auspices of BRICS framework beginning January next year. And Prime Minister Modi has already extended an invitation to Prime Minister Abiy to participate in the BRICS summit next year. We will, of course, convey the details of these activities as we enter the next year. There was also a question on how India and Ethiopia can work together to promote greater voice of Africa and African representation in multilateral forums. I think all of you know India and Africa, India and Ethiopia share a strong commitment in strengthening Africa's voice on global decision-making. We both believe, India and Ethiopia, that international institutions must reflect contemporary global realities rather than outdated structures. India supports Africa's rightful place in the UN Security Council, a stronger role in global financial bodies, and greater space for African perspective on climate adaptation, trade, technology, and development. As Ethiopia is a key member of African Union and now BRICS partner also for us, we would be working very closely and coordinating with them in addressing these questions across multilateral fora. I hope I have answered all the questions.
Question about private sector.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Arindri, for reminding me about it. Yes, I think private sector has been playing a very important role in strengthening our trade and economic ties over the years. As Prime Minister Abiy himself mentioned yesterday, more than 650 Indian companies have sort of invested and registered with the Ethiopian Licensing Investment Department with an investment of over $5 billion. They have also created a number of jobs in Ethiopia, more than 75,000. That is the number Ambassador has given me. So I think if you look at the sort of fabric of India-Ethiopia cooperation in economic matters, we do have manufacturing sort of sector, agriculture, and of course technology and services domain. And in all these areas, Indian private sector has been investing in Ethiopia, but given the reform agenda that Prime Minister Abiy has undertaken in the area of economy and development, Prime Minister Modi conveyed to Prime Minister Abiy that India will work very closely with Ethiopia as per Ethiopia's priorities and encourage Indian private sector to do more in Ethiopia. So I expect more engagement in the area of business communities and trade and investment in the coming weeks and months. Thank you.
Do we have any more questions? If we don't,
Sir, there are two key sectors.
please.
Sir, there are two key sectors. One is agriculture and another one is digital public infrastructure, in which India has done a lot and many countries are trying to learn from India. So, after the outcomes of yesterday's talks, what kind of plans you are seeing in next coming years?
Thank you very much for highlighting these two areas of collaboration, agriculture and technology, in particular DPI. And as I mentioned to you, Ethiopia and India have signed an MoU for cooperation on DPI last year, and we are going to implement it now. We would be very happy to welcome a delegation from Ethiopia, and Prime Minister in fact mentioned about this, that Ethiopian government can send a team of officers, professionals, and to whom we can explain how DPI is benefiting across sectors in India, how technology can be harnessed for development, how our UPI payment system has given access to and empowered people, millions of people, millions of people in India. So I think this is a very important area of partnership which has been identified by the two leaders, and I would expect more engagement, more visits to understand what we can do together in this area. Similarly, in agriculture, as I mentioned to you, Prime Minister Modi spoke about natural farming, agro-technology, again, how we are using technology in building our agri-stack. And this is also an area where we would be working very closely with Ethiopia going forward. Thank you.
One last question.
डीडी न्यूज से सर, जिस तरीके से प्रधानमंत्री आबे ने कहा कि भारत के 2047 तक विकसित भारत के विजन से वो इंस्पायर हुए प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी, डिजिटलाइजेशन को उन्होंने यहाँ पे एक तरीके से फॉलो किया, तो 2047 तक भारत विकसित भारत और एजेंडा 2063 जो अफ्रीका का है, इन लिहाज से ये यात्रा क्या ये माना जाए कि अफ्रीका इंडिया 2.0 फेज में पहुंच चुकी?
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद फॉर इस प्रश्न के लिए। आपने बिल्कुल सही बोला कि अफ्रीकन कॉन्टिनेंट वाइड इनका एक अपना विकास का अपना एजेंडा है, जिसको वो 2063 बोलते हैं, और हमारा जैसा आपको मालूम है 2047 विकसित भारत का गोल है, और दोनों में जो है काफ़ी सिमिलैरिटीज़ हैं, चाहे वो एग्रीकल्चर हो, चाहे वो डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी हो, चाहे वो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर हो, चाहे वो डेवलपमेंट ऑफ ह्यूमन कैपिटल हो। और उन सब क्षेत्रों में हमारी कोशिश है कि जो हमारी इंडिया अफ्रीका फोरम समिट, जिसका हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं ऑर्गेनाइज करने की अफ्रीकन यूनियन के साथ में मिलकर, उस मुद्दों पे डिस्कशन हो और हम उन विचारों को और उन सेक्टर्स में कोऑपरेशन कैसे आगे बढ़ाएं, उस पर हमारी बातचीत हो। तो आपने बिल्कुल ठीक बोला कि एजेंडा 2063 ऑफ अफ्रीका एंड विकसित भारत गोल बोथ कन्वर्ज, एंड हम लोग बहुत ही मजबूती से बातचीत के जरिए, इंडिया अफ्रीका फोरम समिट के जरिए और बायलैटरल पार्टनरशिप के जरिए इन मुद्दों पर बातचीत करेंगे और कोऑपरेशन को आगे बढ़ाएंगे। थैंक यू।
With that, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the close of this press briefing. Thank you very much.